Hello, everybody. My name is Shay, everyone's soon-to-be favorite good boy and bad dragon. I am once again joined by Speed Robo and a additional special guest, Jolt Dragon.
Greetings.
It's very exciting to be here, and it's very good to be recording with both of you again. This is our first time together, but I've loved every time I've been on camera with the two of you, and it is continuously a pleasure to call you both my friends.
Insert nice words here.
We did it.
Like, I've been looking at a lot of stuff today. I don't have the effort to put in any more than that.
That is completely understandable.
We are sufficiently friends on the internet. Insert nice words here.
100%, yeah.
All right.
Oh man.
So, in today's episode of exploring VTuber design, screen will be a little bit more crowded than last time, but we are going to be talking about agency versus indie versus group VTubing. Oh crap, I thought one of y'all would interject there.
Well, I don't know what's
I don't know
going
what to
on.
say,
That's
man.
my
I'm
role
just
in
saying
the video.
insert nice words here. You think I got anything on the mind?
You know what?
You're the one in charge of this operation.
I am in charge. That doesn't mean I'm good at it.
Go to the next slide.
On to the next slide. We're gonna get in place for our mugshots and better introduce why we're qualified to be talking like this today.
I don't think any of us are qualified. We're just kind of.
I don't know about qualifications.
If we don't tell the
Qualifications,
audience we're
2D. That's
stupid,
about it.
if we don't tell the audience we're stupid, they'll think we're smart.
It is way too late for that, buddy. Well, I'll get started. My name's Speed Robo. I'm the owner of SpeedRobo Games and Spaceboat Games. You may be familiar with some of my videos over on the Dr. Speed Robo channel. I talk about trading card games, board games, and the design there within. Not too far in the past, I first bumped into the VTuber world through VTuber trading card games, and the rest is history. And now I'm here learning more about VTubers from my friends Jolt Dragon and Shay.
Well, as I said last time, I'm Shay Long. I have a BA in film, television, and video production. So I've had to learn quite a bit about entertainment, how it works. So I'm coming into this from a on paper expert background. I wouldn't call myself one, but I sure do have a piece of paper that says I should know the ins and outs of the entertainment world on a pretty decent level.
His BA doesn't is not for a bachelor's degree. It stands for barely articulate.
Barely articulate. You know what? That's right. Yeah, it's not Bachelor of
All right, Jolt,
Arts.
your turn.
Be a big A word.
Yeah, boy.
I mean, we all see my long ass invading Speed's area.
And then hello, I am Joltius Draconicus, aka Ren, and I've been recently beginning into VTubing as like a lifelong dream and goal of mine for the past few years. As for qualifications, I've been watching not only VTubers but content creation and entrepreneurs as a whole for over a decade, and have really been influenced and enveloped by the community and all that it has to offer. So I know a lot of the ins and outs of not only just like industry stuff, but also just like community wise, like a lot of history and lore of all the kind of stuff that goes on in these sort of spaces. So yeah.
Man, Jolt is the professional here. Why do we let me be in charge on my own channel?
I won't even call myself a professional. I just have like
No,
like
I
a
mean,
high
you just
fixation
went
on
in,
it.
you knew what you were doing, you said all of the things. You were like, boom, I am here. I'm
He
confident
sounds
about
like he
it.
knows what he's doing,
Yeah,
even if
he
he doesn't.
sounds
I
like he
clap.
I did take
does.
a speech class in high school for like half a semester,
Woo!
so I guess there's
There
that.
you go. That's
Yeah.
it. Woo!
Yeah,
Next slide.
Next
Next slide.
yeah,
slide.
that definitely did help me out of my introvertedness.
All
Well,
right.
that's good.
We're gonna get in the. Yep, there we go.
Table
So
of
we
contents.
table of contents.
People.
We got.
I say because I'm in the way.
It's okay. I'm in the way too.
I forgot to twirl myself so that way I can like move up in the corners here and whatnot.
I
I
believe
have
you have
no
to hit
idea.
Alt and then Alt. Maybe it's
There we go. Okay.
Control. Oh.
There we go.
Wee.
Look at him go!
Doing cartwheels. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, I don't know if I should be like all the way over here because that might be a bit confusing for viewers and like watching it if I'm like keep moving all over the screen. So maybe
Yeah.
it's not the best idea.
Sure.
you know what? We're
I
having
like
fun
table of
here. We're here to
contents.
yap. We're here to be a little bit educational, maybe,
I will be
hopefully.
here in the corner even though my phone is covering my model, but whatever.
Oh,
That's fine. Table of contents.
table of contents. First, we're going to learn about agencies, the definition. I was going to get into the origins thereof a little bit, but that got into some corporate mumbo jumbo that was way over my head. So I skipped that portion and didn't alter the table of contents accordingly.
God damn it.
Hey, look, it's just a blank blue bar background, so in editing and post, you can just put a blue just like strip over the text.
Yeah, just a blue strip. We're gonna pretend I knew what I was doing, gaslight the
There we
audience a
go.
little. All right, then we're going to get into being independent, the pros, the cons, and what that means. Then we're going to get into groups, which is a little bit funky because that's where the line between indie and agency can blur a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty. So, other than an excuse for cute anime girls to hang out, what are
OMG,
agencies?
that's us.
Why do we have them?
Money.
Money.
Is very much the primary driving force.
You know
sure.
what? That is very much the primary driving force. I can't even disagree with that. Money is an important answer. But
Yeah.
for us as the VTubers, what is an agency? Why do we have it? Well, I'm going to tell you what an agency is and what an agency isn't. So, we have the agency is going to provide support such as technology, legal services, advertising, and other forms of management. This could include time management or getting VTubers into contact with conventions and various sorts of professional environments that they normally wouldn't get into or might not even have the know-how to start applying for. What they don't do is they don't pay the talent directly. They don't provide you with like a paycheck and a 9 to 5. What they do is they split the revenue with you essentially. So they take some to make sure they're covered for the legal services, the advertising, and the time management, and they take a percentage out of that, then give you back the rest. So you might get 50% while the other 50 goes to the VTuber corporation, such as Hololive or Niji Sanji or wherever, and they're going to be like, oh, your computer exploded last week. We're going to get you a new computer. That way we can get you back up and streaming.
Got it.
Well, what makes an agency an agency? We have corporate backing. You know, they're going to have connections uh, advertising firms, all kinds of, company stuff that just the VTuber wouldn't normally get, at least not on their own, right? And that company backing in terms of time management and, I'm having a brain fart. It's been a day.
It has been. It has been. A lot's been going on for all of us in many different ways.
This year's been
I
weird.
get it. Been a weird day. Been a weird day. I see that they have multiple talents and employees.
They do. They do have multiple talents and employees. That is essentially what makes it an agency, right? You're not going to
Got it.
be agency with just one guy, right? You're not only
Yeah,
going to have Miss Gargura under your employ, otherwise you're an agent, not an agency. You're not representing
that makes sense.
multiple talents. Uh, and that distinction actually is important because there is some legality involved on what an agent singular can take versus what an
Hmm,
agency can take. And
got
so
it.
managing multiple talents does help in some way on the fiscal side of the business.
Yeah, got it.
And last but certainly not least, they're going to have some connections to people who are going to know the things that the talents might need. So let's say, Mr. Speed Robo, you somehow get invited to be in the next generation of Hollow Stars.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. That is happening.
Definitely. He auditioned yesterday.
What? And I already got my acceptance letter, or however it is they do it. I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
actually. I did.
So
Okay.
he gets in, right? And he's like, all right, cool. Can I keep being a Karibo? Hololive goes, no, we don't own the Karibo. We have to get you a new model. So they're going to
Right.
hook Speed up with designers, riggers, uh,
Mm,
model artists, all sorts of approved people who are going to help Speed through the process and keep him from needing to do the research himself. That way Speed can
yeah.
focus on doing the content parts of VTubing.
All of that makes sense.
Jolt, do you have anything to add so far? You've been a little quiet for the past couple
I
of
have been a
slides.
little quiet. I'm not too sure just yet.
You know what?
That's okay. It's got the brain process.
Yeah,
It's cooking.
We're cooking.
I'm cooked.
I think we're all a little bit cooked.
a little fried is all.
So, pros and cons of VTubing with an agency. With an agency, you're going to have a lot less financial risk involved in your initial setup, right? Because that's always the big thing. Getting a computer, getting a model, getting a design, getting this and that and the other. You're not putting in your own finances nearly as much with a VTuber agency involved. They're going to throw the money at the problem so you don't have to entirely.
Mm, got it.
A VTuber agency is also going to have a much wider reach and advertising because they're already theoretically some kind of established. And if they're not established and they're a new agency, they're going to have a budget to, put commercials on YouTube or put a VTuber generation trailer in front of eyeballs on formerly Twitter, because I'm not calling it the new name.
Who would?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're also going to have a built in network. So all the other talents in your generation or all the other talents in the agency, they're going to be there to help you off the bat. You don't have to go out and find them. So you're going to be like, man, how do I make sitting in front of a PowerPoint and talking and engaging activity, you know, someone's going
That's
to,
the cool part. You don't.
you don't, you're going to have, you're going to have, you're going to have someone higher up than you who came before being like, hey, I don't do the whole PowerPoint thing, but in order to make crocheting more engaging for my chat, I did this, this, and that.
That makes sense.
You don't have to do your own merchandise with the agency either. They're gonna find the producers and the manufacturing and sign away the rights to your virtual likeness. So that's not all that legal headache for you, the talent, and any sponsorships will be verified. So you don't have to read your email and go, what's kind of scammy there.
Right.
And then lastly, you're gonna have some time-saving tools off the bat, like editors, and just less of a learning curve, right? Someone might have time to teach you how to use your model, whereas as an indie, you might have to just figure it out through pure trial and error.
Got it.
The potential risks of VTubing in an agency is you could have content mandates or restrictions. You can't use PowerPoint as a background because you're part of this agency, or maybe you can only use certain approved themes, or maybe you can't talk about certain topics, like how My Little Pony is secretly cinema. You're going to have,
I've got some interesting fan theories about My Little Pony, but that's a discussion for another day.
I've read them, it's why I brought them up.
Yes, I have sent them your way, haven't I? I do recall doing this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The other con is your company owns your IP. So if you leave the company for some reason, or want to strike out and do something a little bit different, you have to get their permission, and you're usually not gonna get whatever your IP is back.
Yeah, that happened with that one shark one recently,
Yes,
didn't it?
Gura, unfortunately, yes. She
Yeah.
is now Saba now, luckily.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's
and
doing
we all just-
fantastic, by the way.
Yeah,
I've
she's doing
seen I've
great.
seen a little bit. Yeah, I've liked her new stuff. I've seen a little bit of the Saba things here and there through YouTube Shorts. I'm like, I like that one. Oh, that's a good one.
Speaking of, so we've seen how Gura went to Saba, right? And clearly
Mhm.
Saba has a lot more creative and aesthetic input on her design than she did with Gura, right? She doesn't have to
Yeah.
generally fit within her gen mates nearly as much. It's just a whatever Saba feels like doing to represent herself. And that's a potential downside that you'd have as a agency VTuber.
That makes sense.
Then the last two, we have collaboration restrictions and non-disclosure agreements. Uh, if you can't disclose certain things, it can be suffocating for some people, because on the one hand, you really want to tell them, your audience, about how you have this new bikini design in the works and it's wonderful and it has this and that on it, but you can't do it because you have to wait for Hololive or Niji or whoever to reveal it with the rest of the bikini models.
Well, as you know, I do have a new bikini model for this Karibo in the works. That's so, you know, that's definitely a concern for me. I
Yeah.
just wear it on my. That's where it goes. It's just on my head.
It's just the
So,
bikini bottoms.
yeah, exactly,
It's just a
exactly.
coconut bra.
Yes, dude. I love coconut. That's a good flavor. And what's this last point? Oh, that's where you stand.
Yeah. So the audience can read.
We did it. We did it, everybody.
Yeah.
The one thing I forgot to touch on more in the cons section is collaboration restrictions. So, to make sure that you're not violating non disclosures and potentially saying things that don't represent the company, a lot of VTuber companies will say, hey, we want you to only collab internally with people who are under the same restrictions as you.
That checks out.
When you said internally, I just thought of turtles and it's like, what the frick is he talking about?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're getting in Turtles and we're forming Voltron with Raphael,
Can't wait.
Donatello,
I
all
can't wait.
all
I am
that good
so excited.
stuff.
Yeah, the other two don't matter. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh, there's only the purple and the red one.
There's only that's the what other colors are there?
Yeah, there are no other colors.
There are no other colors. Don't look at the screen.
Independent VTubers.
That's us.
That's
But for real
us.
this time.
But for real this time. You know, while the agency VTubers get to focus on mostly the fun parts of making content, us indies, we gotta put our nose to the grindstone, kind of do everything ourselves. But
We gotta dig our way out of the dirt.
we do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we do own our own IP. So, you know, until I don't want to be, I'm Shay Long Dragon. I don't
Right.
have to be anyone else, and I don't have to compromise. So that's one fun part. You will be paying out of pocket for almost everything, but your only real guidelines are obeying TOS and end user license agreements, which really frees up your content to do pretty much anything you want. You know, you don't have to stay within the brand nearly as much.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Anyone have anything to add? I feel like I've been doing all the
Yeah.
talking.
Well, I thought of something, right?
Hmm.
And this is one thing that I was thinking of because we're talking about like the differences and the pros and cons of being agency versus indie. Isn't it the case most of the time that you have to start indie and then you get picked up by an
In,
agency?
I would say in maybe 95% of circumstances, probably higher, that is the case. Um, I don't know if there's necessarily any examples. I don't want to definitively say any just in case I'm wrong. But majority of the time it is you start out as an indie VTuber, build up your branding, and then an industry notices you and then picks you up essentially and contracts you and saying, hey, we want you to be part of the team and whatnot. But in the small circumstances that it is a signed contract, people usually hold like an audition or petitions essentially to be a part of the industry or organization. And then they pick from whatever and whoever have auditioned and they find whoever fits their needs best.
Got it. Thank you very much. That answers my question. I appreciate that.
Yeah, the pipeline typically is you start as an indie and then someone will pick you up. The ideal situation for a lot of people is you're picked up by what's called an adoption agency, in which you still get to own your IP, but you're part of a team now and you get the resources, but you're still bound to those non-disclosure agreements and
Hmm.
any other policies of the talent. But getting to own your own stuff is very important for an adoption agency.
Got it.
But the other big thing about being indie is, as you will see behind me, I had to tie this into movies because, of course, I did. And that is, as an indie, the biggest benefit over being part of a corporation is that anyone can VTube. And I chose these three gifts very intentionally. Do either of you have any guesses as to why?
Well, for the
Uh,
first one being right next to me, being Ratatouille, the whole entire phrase of the movie is anyone can cook, and just like here, anyone can VTube. Even if your name's Karen, so long as you're not a butthole.
No,
and an
specifically
account.
Karen in accounting can't VTube. She knows
Yeah,
what she
exactly.
did.
Yeah. Um, man, that's a whole story.
That's the whole thing.
That's a whole thing. It is. She knows.
She knows.
So I am not barely articulate in film theory, unlike Shay. So I have no idea what's going on with these gifts, unfortunately.
That is okay. Touching on the Ratatouille one, I actually want to go a little bit later into Anton Ego's monologue here, because what he says is the phrase anyone can cook does not mean everyone can be a talented chef. It means that a good cook can come from anywhere, right? Any background of person, any uh former occupation, any life experience. You know, you don't have to necessarily have gone to fancy chef school in order to make food, and that applies to VTubing as well, right? A good example of this is Iron Mouse, right? She wanted to be an opera singer, and her whole thing is she had formal opera training and didn't get to do it because of an autoimmune disorder. But she took that and said, I'm going to do something anyway, and proceeded to start VTubing to try and make friends. So, that's a really good example of anyone can VTube in terms of the background of your skill set not mattering, but more so how you apply it.
Got it.
Do we
As
wish to touch up on the other two films that are presented here?
indeed, as for the other two, we're gonna hop over to the third one from Roblox. So if you can shine no matter what you're made of. Uh, the other thing uh, about starting off as an indie VTuber is you can start it with almost minimal resources if you really want to and don't have the money to pour into a model or expensive equipment. All
And for
you
more
need,
specifically, oh, okay. And then also for more specifically VTubing, if that is what your primary goal is in becoming a content creator, you don't necessarily have to start out as VTubing. There are plenty of VTubers who started out with like a face cam or even no face cam who have over the years have recently delved into VTubing. I know for an example, Tricky Wee, she used to do like Pokemon content and like music stuff way back then, but when VTubing started being popularized, she actually joined the bandwagon and became a VTuber herself. And going even further into that, even if you don't have like a face cam or can't even afford one of those, PNG tubing is also an option. It's very similar to VTubing, but instead you just have a frozen still image that lights up whenever you talk. And heck, you don't even have to have it light up. It's just basically just an image that uh, is representative of your persona. I know a lot of people like Pointy Hat on YouTube who does like a lot of YouTube stuff or does like a lot of D&D stuff on YouTube and stuff like that, as well as a very popular YouTuber known as Smitty. His little milk bag is a PNG YouTuber as well.
Joel, I
Yeah,
could not have
one of
said it.
my buddies, Hasher Brown, does that.
Yeah, there's a plethora of examples of people who do PNG tubing, even before the name PNG tubing was even founded.
Yeah, yep. Technically, I was one. I was on the bleeding edge of that on accident, I suppose.
You were. But yeah, Joel, I
Yeah.
couldn't have said it better myself. My point that I was going into was that you could start off with a simple PNG and work your way up, and then your personality and content and what you have to say can do the rest of the work until you get to the point where you're at where Anton Ego wants you to be, or even just yourself, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
be your harshest critic about not being where you want
Hmm.
with the fancy model and thousands of people watching, but you can start anywhere, and that's one of my favorite appeals of VTubing.
Yes, and speaking of a fancy model, as well as being able to afford an expensive thing, if you have the money to splurge onto a model, by all means, if you are willing and you are comfortable to do so, go for it. That is totally fine. There are thousands and tens of thousands of artists that are dedicated to this community and are more than willing to bring your dream into light. But if you don't have the funds for that thing just yet, again, PNG tubing and whatnot is still an option. But you could also just make your own model. Take me, for example. I made my entire model by myself. Granted, I do also have experience in art, and the reason why I do that. And I've been drawing for like many, many years just as a hobby throughout school and whatnot. But I had zero
Jolt, put
teaching
yourself
on how
center
to
stage
make.
real quick and show off to the audience.
Oh yeah, you're all
Yeah.
good, homie. Yeah. Now it's not anything complex. It's nothing, out there. It's no like, Iron Mouse model or anything like that. Where she has like 50 or something models. But yeah, um, I made this entire model myself with my blood and sweat, and I absolutely adore it. Obviously, an artist is their biggest critique. There are many things that I do think post I could do so much better, but I am still very, very happy and very, very prideful of the product that I have made. Anyways, getting back into actually making a model, I had zero experience in making one. All I did was just look up a simple tutorial on YouTube, and I got it done in a week. It is,
That's
you
kick
can
ass.
absolutely, I drew my entire model on my phone, and then I brought it over, transferred it over onto my PC, and then used the live 2D rigging system. I forget exactly what the name is. I'm sure Shay will pop this up on screen afterwards and post edit. And it was entirely free. Every single second was so amazing for me. If you have the time and the dedication, and I wouldn't necessarily say talent, because heck, you can even make a derpy model like Lil Karibo over there and still do wonders. But
Or
yeah,
Kiwi Doki, she's one of my favorites.
oh yeah, she's a treat.
Yeah,
but yeah,
She is the best.
but yeah, it
it's
is.
all about how you go about presenting yourself and doing things, right? You know, Jolt isn't Jolt isn't out here to be handsome BFE content
No, I
maker
already am.
man. He's here to educate and talk about card games and the VTuber community as a whole, right? So
Yeah.
even though his model is homemade, although it's very lovingly homemade, I will say, like it
Thank you
has,
so much.
yeah, it has all the hairs in there. Like I can sit here and count them if I really wanted to. It has a lot of its own charm, which I think
Dude, the hair took. Okay,
reinforces.
look, cutting you off right here. The hair took me so freaking long. Every single strand I did
Yeah, no
myself
kidding.
individually.
Oh,
And again, once again, I did it all on my phone, so I swiped every single line with my finger. It was a pain.
y'all, Y'all sub to
I
him.
love it so much, though. I love it so
No,
much.
you nailed it, dude. It's fucking awesome.
It's wonderful. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my god.
you can shine no matter what you do as long as you do what you want to do and do it to the best of your ability, right? Someone's going to like what you put out there.
Yeah, so always stick true to yourself, even if you're going against the grain like us three, where we're all three male VTubers. We know how unpopular necessarily that is. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's just, not the primary audience or target. But yeah, you could, doesn't matter what gender you are, doesn't matter what aesthetic you go for, anything like that. Anyone can VTube.
Anyone can VTube, except for Karen in
Love it.
accounting.
Yeah, she's not allowed. She knows what she did.
She knows what she did. The last one I do want to bring up here is wait, no, we already did it. We already did.
We did
Jolt,
it.
you did it.
We did it.
You did it.
Yay. Woo.
And we already went through the pros and cons just yapping earlier. I'm gonna
Oh,
leave this up here for a little bit because I did spend time.
Tax evasion.
tax evasion's good. I like
love
that
that.
one. I like that one.
See, that's the one pro that's not true. Do not evade your taxes.
Yeah, do not
Don't
pay your
do that.
taxes.
Don't-
Or hire someone to
Don't
pay
do
them
that,
for you.
kids. Always pay your taxes. Always pay your taxes.
Always
Oh,
pay your
good times.
taxes.
Always pay your taxes.
Moral of
Look,
this
if the Joker
slide:
doesn't mess with the IRS, neither should you.
no.
Oh man, I remember that. That's good. Yeah, good times.
But there is a third option. If you want to VTube, but you're worried about doing it by yourself, and you're just not experienced enough to get into an agency, or maybe there's just not an audition open when you want to start, there's a third way. VTuber groups. It's almost like we planned this.
What?
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
I didn't plan this. I was just winging this whole time.
Yeah, I didn't plan shit.
You said, hey, you want to do this tomorrow? I was like, sure. I didn't plan a single thing.
Yeah.
I had like two ideas in my mind, and it was specifically for this, but it's like, I'm just winging this whole thing. I don't have no script or anything like that.
None of us have
That
a
is
script. This is just
very
for us
true.
to talk, maybe educate a little, and be inspirational. Going back, like Jolt said, anyone. I had like a plan to bring up how the movies connect, and then Jolt just said, "Hold my beer," and he hit a home run.
Hold my fruit
was
juice.
great.
Let me take this one.
It was great. It was great.
It was
So
wonderful.
tell me more about VTuber groups. Would we qualify? Actually, is a good question.
You know what?
I
We're
would
gonna get to
personally
that.
say- Personally, to answer that, I would say no. It has to be more of an organized thing, especially when
Yeah.
in correlation to business transactions and practices, whether that's in correlation with other companies, whether that be merchandise, sponsors, stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas we are just a silly group of friends just hanging out making a video.
That makes sense.
Jolt is correct. But
All right.
am I
flying
talking
squad.
about a group or a wave in this slide?
Oh.
Because they do have quite a bit of overlap. So let's see if y'all can guess which I'm talking about with the hints. Number one, a group of talents with a similar theme. They are branded as a team or a unit with a similar objective in their lore. Lore, the thing we talked about in the first episode that you should watch.
Well, coming back.
It's all coming back. It's all coming together. They have a logo or a tagline that explains what they're about, typically both. And last but not least, they have to have at least a singular image of all of them posing like JoJo characters.
I think that this would be a wave because a group I wouldn't think would necessarily have um the like sort of like tight branding that's implied in the top two. Um, but the bottom two, I think, are group characteristics.
Jolt, what do you think?
Weirdly enough, I was kind of thinking the opposite for the first point, for the exact same reasons, however. And I think because of that, I think we need to distinctly define what is group and what is wave before we categorize these things as which not, because definitions can be entirely subjective, as like our differing opinions right now. So I think
So
it's important we
Absolutely.
categorize which is which before moving further on here.
so it's funny you should mention that because this was a trick question.
It's both.
I was talking about both.
Both is good.
Both
Both is
is
good.
Yeah,
good.
both is good. That
But
makes
you know
sense.
what? I am glad that you two got to the opposite answer because I was worried that it leaned way too heavily in one direction.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. That's
I'm
good.
I'm glad I did good on that bit there.
It's like we staged it, but we did it.
We didn't. It's wonderful. So, groups and waves. A group is simply a set of VTubers that go together. And the main difference between a group and a talent wave is whether or not they have that corporate backing.
Mm.
Some agencies will
Yeah.
start off as a VTuber group. However, that does tend to fail for one reason or another. Like last year, there were 20 groups that tried to be agencies, and all of them collapsed.
Oh, well, that's sad.
It is a little bit sad, but the thing about making your group into an agency is it does have to be a business first and foremost. And a lot of groups don't get that point until it's too late.
I mean, definitely.
So, uh, little bit more on the group versus wave thing before we get into the pros and cons of having a group or a wave. Uh, the main difference is the corporate backing. The other difference is a group you can get a little bit more diverse in terms of what the identity is, a little more niche and out there. So, for example, you're going to see a Hololive wave, right? And they're generally going to follow some kind of theme. Like Hollow Myth is, for the most part, they're all some kind of mythical creature that dips their toes into the realm of mythology, versus a group could get a little bit more abstract with the idea. For example, there used to be a group called V Trash, and their whole thing was just kind of they're all a little bit off color in terms of their humor.
Mm, got it.
But yeah, for the pros and cons, we have you do get a team of friends. So while it's not corporate backing, you know, uh, let's say we hypothetically became a VTuber group, you know,
Right.
I'm
You have
gonna
the
have
mutual cooperation. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna have done research to be like, hey, I can't buy a model for you, Speed, but I've already done a
Mm,
bunch of research. Here are people that I liked to do the art and rig that I didn't go with, or maybe even the one I did go with, and I highly recommend them.
makes sense.
Other thing is, you're you're all gonna have different strengths. I'm I'm, for example, I believe I'm very good at finding resources to get to an operational point, right? I
Mhm.
can be like, you need You need a thumbnail artist? All right. And then crank out 3 to 5 in an hour that I think would work well. Whereas Speed, your strength is game design. So, which while that might not work as much on the back end, that might work better on the front end of making content and entertaining the people.
Makes sense. And Jolt's here to be sexy.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
There
Arr.
we go. That's a good team right there.
Good team right here.
Yeah.
Then the brand identity does also come into play. Again, less than with an agency, but having a group of people that generally click with you around tells people what you're all about, right? So if someone's a chatter in one of SpeedRobos streams, you know, and they find out, hey, we're friends, they're going to see my stuff and go, oh, he does his own analytical content, but from a different angle of movies and cinema and
Yeah.
storytelling. And I like that type of content, so I'm going to go watch him.
That makes sense.
We touched on resource recommendations a little bit in the team of friends and different strengths. Uh, the biggest pro that I do want to highlight, though, is in a VTuber group, having someone to tell you no does do a lot. Because
Yeah.
the people who are in the group with you want you to succeed. And sometimes you're going to have a stupid idea. Plain and simple, right? The the frisbee golf dynamite with dynamite stream is an awful idea. And if the
Is it though?
yes, the frisbee golf with dynamite stream is an awful idea.
No,
Anyway, the
no,
golf
no.
is fantastic, but no,
I,
because they added that, no, it's a no go.
all right, all right. You two are pussies. I get it.
There were 2 colors for golf.
I'm of course immediately thinking of the Yu-Gi-Oh chapter where he shoved nitroglycerin inside of an ice cube and then put it on a grill.
I forgot
That was a
about
good one.
that.
I was
That
kind of like in correlatedly thinking of the one time where this group of streamers had a charity Splatoon tournament, and they green screened the entire game and chroma keyed it, and under the overlay was pornography.
oh
So whenever
no.
they were firing like the goo or whatnot, um, basically it would show more and more of the explicit imagery, and the losing team would get banned off of Twitch because that violates the TOS.
That's
See, that
pissed.
yeah, that's a bad idea. And
Yeah,
while
so much so that Nintendo actually went after them for that.
Oh,
as they rightfully should
I
have.
guess. Yeah, that I get. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, but
I
the
get
biggest
it.
pro is having someone to tell you no. On occasion, you're going to have a stupid idea. You're going to think it's the funniest thing in the world and you're going to want to do it. And having people around who care enough to be like, hey, maybe don't stream Splatoon with adult content on the ink.
Yeah, basically just to put you down easy, be like, with peace and love, you're an imbecile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, because it's Splatoon, I see the issue. That does make sense. Funny though.
The last pro we have here is solidarity, though. Even if these are the people who you're trusting to put you down easy and, tell you no, these are still the people who should have your back when you do mess up.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
A lot of the
As Shay said earlier, we touched.
oh,
was more to that sentence, but that was the important part.
That was the important
Sandwiches.
part. The cons do include a lot of the familiar things, though, that we did see with the agency VTubers, though. You might have potential NDAs, especially if you're in a more business oriented group of VTubers. Uh, a indie risk that does come up is potentially the group loses out on money because it's not just your investment anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Tragically, groups of VTubers will break up for one reason or another. Maybe the agency didn't work out. Maybe someone did something that ruined the reputation of everyone else. And so everyone kind of had to distance themselves because sides were taken. It can get very socially messy, unfortunately.
It is a shame.
It is a shame.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to like everyone thinks they would love to be roommates with their best friend until all of
Uh-huh.
like the little things here and there start stacking up, and then people kind of clash at that.
It's
Similar
exactly
Yeah.
circumstance
that.
there.
It is exactly that. And that very emotional investment that is a pro is also a con, right? Because
Mhm.
once your feelings get involved, you're not always going to be the most objective, group setting or not.
That's for sure.
You know, it'd help if I figured out where my mouse was.
That might help. That might help. Closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts.
Boy.
This is the part
Well,
where,
so
oh,
yeah, I have some closing thoughts as the guy who's learning things. It seems to me like you're going to, in general, have to start as an indie VTuber, which I think is fine. Because we talked about how, like, the barrier to entry isn't that big of a deal. And so I think that that's a good idea to, if you're really interested, to, like, really try being indie and solo to make sure that this is something you want to do. And from there, evolving to group, and from there, evolving to agency seems like the most logical path to me.
that is indeed a
I mean,
good logical progression to do. Not every path is going to work for everybody. So if you and a bunch of friends are really, really passionate about starting up an indie VTuber group, go ahead and do it. Because again, the whole anyone can cook conversation.
Right, that makes sense.
Sorry, Jolt, I did
to
not mean to cut you off.
no, you're all good, man. Let's see. To further go on the side of people getting together and like making a group or an organization or whatever, one thing that I've always kept in mind for so many years, there is an individual by the name of Ludwig. I'm sure many of you have heard of him. He's a popular YouTuber and Twitch streamer. He got the Twitch record a couple years ago, but anyways, he has a couple of friends that he has been roommates with for a very long time, and he now does a podcast with them. But the other people that he is friends with aren't content creators. He's the only one that really like truly delves into content creation. Um, and the reason, and then they started their group, and they're still. I'm not 100% sure if they're still roommates to this day, but they still do their podcast every single day, and they have really good connections and really good relations with each other as really close friends. I think a very, very important thing for this type of thing is it really only works if you are really, really close friends with one another. Even earlier today, Buff Pup, she said she is with a group of other VTubers called VTuban, is her and 3 other VTubers. She even said earlier today on her stream, that she would not invite Iron Mouse to VGBon if it came down to it, because they aren't 100% fully like as close together as they are, as well as it's like an entirely different environment and system than what it would be to be like in a full company agency, or would it be like in just as an indie VTuber. And she said some other things as well that I don't fully recollect as of right now, and as well as what I just said isn't fully verbatim, but the point still stands.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes total sense to me. I completely get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you should start a group with people that you trust fully and have similar goals as you if you do start one up. So I think Buff Pup had a really good point to bring up here, even though Buff Pup isn't here, but you know what? She's here in spirit.
Yep.
Yay. That's one of the ones that I know.
Very limited VTuber knowledge on Speed.
Yeah. Oh,
All
yeah.
right, we'll get him
I don't
into
know
more
what's
of it.
going on.
We'll get him more
I don't know
involved in
what's
the
going
community.
on.
Yeah.
I play the card games. That's what I do. That's the best I got.
And sometimes that is enough.
Yeah. So it's total true story. I started watching Chibi Doki because she was in Rift Runners, and I'm really glad that I did. That's VTuber recommendation of the day. Go watch Chibi
Yeah, she is
Doki.
hilarious. She is such a treasure. She is
I
freaking so funny.
completely agree.
She is. And if you're looking
That's
for
my
more VTubers that you can watch, we have an episode about lore where we talk about several VTubers.
what not Chibi Doki though.
No, we do also talk about Chibi Doki, just not her lore.
Talk about Chibi Doki?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay. I don't remember any. Dude, I don't remember the past.
Uh-huh.
No, that's
Yep.
just
And he
it. He
doesn't
does
remember
not
so much
remember
he
the
can't even finish the
past.
sentence.
Yeah, exactly. No, I realized that it was that sounded like not the end of a sentence, but then I stopped and I thought about it. I was like, actually, that's correct. I do not remember the past.
The past is an illusion, and so are pants.
There you go. So that is my closing thoughts. Um, had a great time tonight. Thank you guys for being here and doing a fun video with me.
Yeah, and thank you both for inviting me.
Yeah,
Of course.
thank you both for coming. Thank you both for yapping. Jolt, you get the gold star for contribution today. Like you did, dude, you took a I had notes right in front of me about, all right, this is what I want to say about how these movies connect to what I'm saying here. And then you just
Nailed
said,
it.
screw the movies. I'm talking about your points that you put here anyway.
Yeah, I was quiet in the first half, and then I just stole the spotlight just
We
immediately
figured it out.
afterwards.
We got him going. All right. I'm going to head out. I'll catch you guys on the flip.
Catch
All
you
right, take care,
later.
man.
See ya.